Hi everyone, Bear from Bear Reads Books. Welcome back to my channel. I need to tell you what I'm going to be reading for my pool reads for the next round of the Booktube prize, where I've been assigned Pool B, I think it is, for non-fiction. So if you remember the first round I did fiction, and it was great. I had a great time, some sensational books, and for this time I've been assigned a non-fiction group, which is great. And I must say that it's in the non-fiction area that I have one tiny concern with the Booktube prize, and it's because of the parameters of how they come to find their lists. In fiction, it has to be published in the United States sometime in 2019. Pretty much that's it. And those same parameters exist for non-fiction. But non-fiction books and fiction books are very different, as are the readers for fiction and non-fiction. So to say something was published in the United States is almost certainly, for non-fiction, going to mean that it is American in its focus, that it is focused on non-fiction for the United States, whether that be American history or American social issues, or not just written by Americans. And that doesn't really raise its head in the fiction section, because English is the dominant language, and there were bunches and bunches of books from the UK, books from Australia. There were books from all over the place. But in fiction, in non-fiction, it is very, very much focused on American topics. So there's quite a few books on race. There's a car alarm, not the sort of thing I normally hear. There's a lot of books focused on race, which is fine. In its context, it's a very topical thing to be talking about and discussing. But it is focused on the American view of race, or race issues within the United States. And that is similar for a lot of books on this list. And in the pool that I've got, which I'll go through right now, they are focused a lot on issues within the United States. Doesn't mean they're not going to be great books. They are going to be fantastic books, because a lot of people have said that they like them. So I'm sure the books will be enjoyable. But it is one, and I don't know. I don't have a solution, but I think it is one tiny flaw in the Booktube prize in its current standing. As such, finding these books in a physical bookstore in Australia is near on impossible. So I went to a number of bookstores. I was allowed to, and they're still open here in Australia. And I wasn't able to find any of them on the list apart from one, which is still in hardback. The paperback hasn't been released. And I didn't buy it because it was $45. The ridiculous price of books in this country. It was $45 for a hardback, and I didn't want to pull the trigger. So I think the paperback's coming out soon, or I might try and find a different one. But let's go through all six and discuss them each. The one that I've bought so far, I've only bought one, and I had to buy it online from an Australian online book retailer called Booktopia. Great, thumbs up, love them. And that is Parkland by Dave Cullen. So Parkland, and the subtitle is The Birth of a Movement. And of course it is about the Parkland shooting, and Dave Cullen also wrote about Columbine. So he does write other stuff about school shootings in the United States. So the short description: a deeply moving account of the extraordinary teenage survivors of the Parkland shooting. So talking specifically about the survivors, different to other school shooting events in the United States, the survivors of Parkland really have formed a movement talking about gun control in the United States. Whether that continues, I think everything has kind of been swamped by the messages around coronavirus now, but whether that voice continues to get traction in the United States, I don't know. So that's one, Parkland by Dave Cullen. And I'll have to put the rest up here beside me, because I haven't bought any of them yet. And some of them I will try and find on ebook, and I think I've been able to find somewhere, I haven't grabbed it yet, but I think I've been able to find an audiobook version of another one. So I may have to limit the amount of physical books I buy for this particular round of the Booktube prize, simply because they're not available as physical books in this country. And postage is slow because of the coronavirus, because every man and his dog is buying books and buying other stuff online. So actually getting stuff delivered is a slow option now. So maybe ebook and audiobook is going to have to be the way to go. Anyway, 1, Dave Cullen, Parkland. 2 is number 2, Albert Woodfox's Solitary. Now this one is about a man who was imprisoned for something he didn't do, and I think spent 30, 40 years in jail for a crime he didn't commit, which in and of itself sounds like a very interesting tale. Number 3, Ibram X. Kendi, How to Be an Anti-Racist. Some of these I haven't really researched yet, and I don't know anything about that particular book. Never heard of the author, never heard of the book. Number 4, Laurie Gottlieb, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, which I think is about the life of a New York counsellor, psychoanalyst, psychiatrist, something like that. Which sounds very, very interesting. And that is one that I've seen around, not as physical books, but I've seen images of it on Amazon or ebook sites or whatever. And then we have Dave Cullen's Parkland, sorry I already did that. Emily Bazelon, Charged, which is about sentencing and arrests in the United States and the prevalence of arrests and harsh sentences and how many people are in jails around the United States. So it's that kind of broad topic. And the final one, which I have heard of, was the only one of these 6 that I had actually heard of before, was Robert Macfarlane's Underland. I was about to say Underworld. Underland, which I still don't know much about, but I have seen it around at physical bookshops, and this is the one that I had seen at a physical bookshop, but at $45 for a hardback, and it's not a huge volume. I just can't justify that. So I'm either going to have to buy it online for less than that from an online book retailer, or find another version. And this is the one I think I may have found an audiobook version. If anyone's read Robert Macfarlane's Underland, I would like to know whether it's got mountains of pictures and diagrams and stuff like that. I don't want to buy it as an audiobook if it's going to have lots of visual things that I need to engage with. Same with ebooks. As much as you can see the pictures on an ebook reader, it's just not the same. So I'd rather not play with an ebook or an audiobook if there's going to be bunches of visual material that I need to interact with. So especially Underland, if anyone who's read Underland can just message down below to say yes or no, does it have lots of visual items in it other than text? I would like to know. And that'll help me decide whether I pull the trigger on a physical book from a bookshop or whether I go for an audiobook. Thank you. So they're the 6 that I've got. It is Pool B, and I'm pretty excited about those books. They all sound really interesting. But apart from Underland, I had not heard of a single one. And apart from Underland, they are all very, very American-focused topics. And I think that is true of a lot of the pools. Some of the other pools have some non-fiction that I've read before, like David Wallace Wells's Uninhabitable Earth, that one about climate change. And there was a whole bunch of other ones that I think I read in non-fiction November last year that have shown up in the list that I've already read. But again, a lot, apart from those that I may have already read, there's a lot of really American-focused books here. It's a very small criticism, I know, but when you... yes, but it only became noticeable to me when I picked up my book list for this round of the Booktube prize, and apart from Underland, I had no idea what any of them were. And that would never happen in a fiction list. I think I'm embedded in fiction enough that when I pick up a list of fiction books, I've pretty much heard of some, if not all of them. Now, I know I can't say that of non-fiction. It's not really a the best way to describe it, but I just feel a little on the outside coming from not a country other than the United States reading these books for non-fiction. I'm sure they're going to be wonderful though. And as of today, that's not right. As of today, I'm starting Parkland by Dave Cullen. And once I get a few other books off my currently reading list, then I'll be picking up one of the ebook versions that I've already got. Possibly Laurie Gottlieb might be a good place to start. That was the one about the analysts, psychoanalysts. Maybe that one. So that'll give me two at the same time that I'll start working through. There we go. That's that. Pool B of non-fiction, quarterfinals. Hope your reading for Booktube prizes is going well. Hope your reading in general is going well. Hope your isolation's going well. It's great time for reading. Enjoy your day, everyone, wherever you may be, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.